Thank you, Scott. I couldn't make a better introduction of myself by myself. Thank you. So you heard about ESG, you heard about digital transformation. I will be speaking about managing economic downturn through innovative procurement strategy or getting ready for recession. We all experience quite difficult times nowadays. So before I move, notice of confidentiality. My legal department and communication department said it's very important to show this is not for distribution, it's just an example and for using this as a material to share with you, all of you. So I can't not to tell you about Visa, and probably Visa as a company doesn't need an introduction. I still want to talk to you about what Visa does and why. And Visa, if we talk about the history, it was born in 1958, and Visa facilitates payments between consumers and businesses. Our vision is to be the best way to pay and be paid everywhere for everyone. And our mission is to connect the world through the most innovative, reliable, and secure payment network. And I have the question to the audience, how many of you do have a Visa card in your wallet, physical or digital? Oh gosh, mostly everybody. That's a very good one. So Visa manage 65,000 transactions per second. And each transaction has a very exciting story. Probably you all know what you spend your money on through Visa. And it is very exciting and very impactful. A little bit more facts about Visa. So we operate in over 200 countries and territories. We manage 255 billion transactions per year. We have 3.9 billion cards globally, and it's growing with every day, especially now when travel is back and we are moving in between different territories. And we work with about 15,000 financial institutions. So why I'm telling you that? Yeah, because it is important, and I'm still very excited to be part of this company. I joined only for 1.5 years ago. And of course, those who know me, whom I interacted and networked, I always start with a vision. It is very important to have a North Star. So, yeah, our North Star is our vision to be a procurement organization which really enable efficient and responsible strategic and operational delivery to Visa, and utilizing procurement's unique position in the value chain. I really burn for this, and what I really love about Visa is that it is a huge recognition that procurement organization can be that enabler to support the business and to deliver global and industry best practices. And we're also on a transformation journey, as many of you. However, trouble ahead. Based on the latest reports, and I don't want to be very dramatic here, but unfortunately, our consumer price inflation hit a 40-year high. As per the latest report of Bank of England, it is 9.9, which was in August, and Bank of England will release another report coming now in October any day. The British pound hit record low against the dollar, which means actually that our life is more complicated than ever before. Pounds is so low, and that means that we pay more for labor, we pay more for all products and services. which are imported. And that's a kind of an interesting and difficult situation for procurement organization today. So again, from 9.9 to predicted 14% inflation rate at the end of this year. So how we can manage this? It is very challenging time, from COVID to war in Ukraine. I do believe we must have one foot in the present and one foot in the future to build the future, to secure the future, to mitigate potential risk of recession and many other risks coming with inflation as well. So I think we need to acknowledge that we may win or we may lose. We don't know yet. This recession might be very different from others. It is more dynamic. Things are happening faster than ever before. And there are a couple of typical procurement levers. You all use them in everyday life, but I would really like to talk about buying better, buying smarter, spending less, eliminating waste, and also enhancing relationships, focusing on overall value, not on the cost savings only, focusing on overall value. That's important. And we have the market price inflation. We have cost of doing good, ESG. We heard a lot about ESG today. Raising cost of borrowing, multiple forces putting pressure on the bottom line of our organizations. It is a difficult time, but it comes also with the opportunity for all of us, for all procurement organizations, to really show what we go for and to stand by our business, to help our business, to advise and to help and to do. So I'm planning to spend a couple of minutes with you to talk about top 5 tips to get ready for the recession. This is based on my previous and current experiences. Hopefully you recognize some of them. We start with number 1. Again, this is about the first step. It's the acceptance. You need to accept we may win large or we may lose large. We don't know yet. There are challenges in buying in inflationary markets. Those who experienced other recessions in the past probably will say, is anyone who experienced other recessions? Anyone? Yeah. So you know how difficult it is, but this one is coming faster than anyone could predict. So what's the recommendation? And again, it sounds like something old, but it's something new. We need to have executive sponsorship. It's a key, because we can't move on our own. We need to have business, we need to have finance and procurement to work together. Because it's a challenge, it's not only procurement challenge, it's everybody's challenge. Yeah, number 2, understand how suppliers enable your business. We need to take a closer look on what we spend money on and why. We always do that. It seems very simple, but in these difficult times, it's extremely important. We need to get grip of the supplier spend data, and we heard Nick about the digital transformation. It is important. It will help us all to get our hands on the data and really understand actually what business does. Is it critical for now? Can we pause? Can we move to the later? So again, we need to be advisors to the business to say, is it critical at this time? Or we can do it slightly different. So take a pulse on when and how this affects budgets and current business priorities. So again, and you will hear me a couple of times telling, buy well, but not only buy well, we need to help business to spend well. And this is something my CFO is asking me to do, to look at, and I assume any CFO will ask, what can we do in these difficult times? Can you help us? Can we save money? Can we do cost avoidance? Or should we stop spending? Again, we need to understand what is the priority for the business and ask why and challenge the status quo. Number 3. Procurement really need to step in more powerfully than before. Make sure that we do the basics right. And this is something we did in the past as well. Basics are always necessary to do right. But in these times, again, we maybe need to pause certain exciting initiatives, very strategic initiatives. We need to ensure that we can meet the recession in a better form and shape. Again, looking into the data, reviewing contracts, and maybe, why not, going back to old-fashioned stop spending program. Maybe CFO is already asking or planning to do so. Why not be active and proactive and say, okay, we can orchestrate that, we can do that, we can help you to spend less. But there is also extremely important to put in place spending governance to ensure there are right channels and right governance in place. Number 4, join up internally, because together with the business and finance, we can act faster. Business demand planning has been always a challenge, at least in many organizations I worked for, and we can really utilize this situation to flag and also to put this in the spotlight. We need to create advanced demand planning with the procurement and sourcing at the table, and by as early as possible, integrate some of the cost increases, maybe in the final customer contracts. It depends on the industry and the business type. Reduce risks and, of course, last but not least, improving communication and collaboration. Because again, inflation, risk for recession, it's not a procurement problem, it's everybody's problem. We need to work together. And my last tips, but not least, I strongly believe in creating strong relationships and not profit from these relationships. It's more together, better relationships, especially with suppliers, to become a customer of choice. It is something my team is really passionate about. At Visa, we're building communication plans, we're building lunch and learns and trainings, but also starting working with our suppliers closer than ever before. Question to you, renegotiate or collaborate? Why not doing both? In these difficult times, cost savings probably will not come as planned or as desired. So irrespectively, we need to collaborate. We need together to look into what matters, how our current providers, our partners can help us to drive innovation. They are experts in their fields, so definitely they're coming with ideas and creativity that can benefit both of us. So it is important to understand the dynamics, current situation, and partner with our suppliers. Renegotiate, yes, but collaborate, that's the key. I think relationship matters, right? Irrespectively if we're talking about business or suppliers or your private life. So that were 5 tips how to meet the recession, not beat the inflation, but to manage it professionally in an agile manner and think differently. It's unorthodox times, so we can't afford to think traditionally. We need to think differently. We need to frame our value proposition to the business differently. So a couple of key takes away from me regarding procurement strategy. It's a shift, and collaboration is a key, and ESG is a must. So yeah, build partnerships during these uncertain and difficult times. It's very important. And through these collaborations with the business and with the suppliers, with our suppliers, we can identify further efficiencies and innovations. And we have these examples every day. So if you want to get in touch, we can speak about it some other time, later today or another day. Drive operational efficiencies. We talked about go back to basics. It is important for our organizations to mitigate the risks of inflation, to mitigate the risks, or to be ready for the recession. It is around the corner. It's coming. And we can help the business to meet it. So definitely we need to ensure there are cost reductions or cost avoidance, or frame the value, the overall value of the procurement organization. We need to measure it, and we need to deliver great outcomes for our organization. But it's also a time when we can think about, are we efficient enough? What can we do more? Can we restructure our organization based on new target operating model? Ways of working. It's time to rethink, and it's time to maybe streamline and be more efficient. And the third one, key takeaway, is continue with ESG in supply chain. This is something we can't compromise, we can't stop doing, and it is important, not only for Visa, for my organization and my team. We're burnt about it. We really think it is one of the most important area in procurement. We need to drive improvements and contribute to building a better world. There are no passengers on spaceship Earth. We're all crew. Accelerating sustainable commerce and procurement, ESG in supply chain, is more important than ever before. And if we are to act as crew members of our planet, not as passengers, we will invest more of our time and efforts into building sustainable procurement, building sustainable world, and supporting our business in all ESG-related topics. Any questions?
Thank you, Alisa. Okay, now I'm hoping we do have some questions, because we haven't had any so far today. You're all being very shy. If you do have any questions, please do put your hand up. Put us to the test. Yes, thank you very much. Can we get a microphone down to the front, please? While we're waiting for the microphone to come along, I've got a question here as well, Alisa. Now, at the beginning of that presentation, it was quite appropriate maybe, because you were shrouded in darkness, and you gave quite a dark message about the looming recession that's coming. So how likely do you think it is that we are heading to a recession? And is it something that needs to happen?
Very good question. Thank you. Thank you, Scott, and who posted the question. I'm a very visual person, so about the colors. So this is exactly the point. So from very bright and playful Visa presentation and layout, I went into more dark, because it is difficult times, and inflation is already there. This is a fact, and what we can see on the market, very early, very clear signs of recession coming. I think it's almost there, it's creeping, and we can't avoid it. We just need to be ready. That's the point of my presentation today. We need to be very aware that we can win, we can lose, but we need to get ready. And there are different methodologies how we can get ready. It can be, all those 5 tips I was talking about. And I do believe it's coming, yes.
Is it needed?
I would probably not, I'm not the right person to answer on it. Maybe Bank of England would. But no, probably not needed, but it is a fact. It will happen. Do we want inflation? Was inflation needed? It's happened. It's things which we cannot impact. War in Ukraine, COVID, starting with. Post-COVID situation, war in Ukraine, energy crisis. There are so many crises in the world at the moment, so recession will come. I believe so. But again, maybe we need to ask big economists in the world who will tell more.
Okay, I think you're right, it is inevitable. Right, if we take the question from the floor then, if you just start by stating your name and where you're from, please.
Hello, Alisa. I'm Lily from Estée Lauder Company. I have a question in regards to supply relationship and ESG. So I wonder, how do we manage the conflicts between suppliers' additional spend and a continuous sustainable kind of investment for the company during this economic downturn? So it's for example, like say we want to manage a supply relationship, we want to build a relationship as you stated, but we also want to deliver the ESG goals as all procurement professionals. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's a very good one. I do believe we can avoid a conflict. We can build supplier relationships based on trust and based on joint willingness to get ready for the very difficult times. So recently, for a month ago, Visa procurement team organized Supplier Summit, and we talked to our suppliers about our challenges, our joint challenges, and collaboration as a key element of how we can overcome the difficult time, which I believe is already here and will be probably more. So it's not a conflict, and everybody understands that we need to work together to find a kind of a compromise and a solution of doing business together and doing it better together.
Okay, thank you for your question. Just one more question, very briefly, Alisa. This has come in from our virtual audience, Umbrella, so thank you, whoever has asked the question. It says, how relevant is the procurement function versus other departments, such as legal, finance, IT, supply chain?
It is super relevant. I think one of the previous speakers said, think big, you will be as big as you think big, right, Nick? Something about that lines. So if you think big, if you're really very passionate about procurement organization, you make it relevant. You think big and you make it relevant to the business because it's outcomes which matters. And if you think strategically, holistically, you will work very closely with other functions who will realize, or realizing maybe in many organizations, how important the function is. Because at Visa, for example, and many other organizations, procurement really seen as a connector, enabler in between so many parties. For example, at Visa, we have customers, we have merchants, we have partners, and they are at the same time suppliers. So there are many relationships which are multifaceted, which we can use and really explain the value of the procurement if needed to be explained.
Okay, that's all we've got time for now. Thank you so much, Alisa.
Thank you.